Hi, welcome to another video. If you haven't been here before, my name is Georgia Jo and this is my channel where I talk all things books. So today I thought I would go through some books that I have on my TBR that I have been putting off for a while for a different variety of reasons. A different variety? They literally mean the same thing. For a variety of reasons that, yeah, I've just been putting off. I might need a little bit of convincing to read them. I feel like I did this video a while ago and probably it's the same books that are on it, honestly. It might have even just been a TikTok that I did, but yeah, it's probably the same books that were on there that I still need convincing to read, that I will read at some point. And some of them I feel like are a little bit for the bare months, a little bit for the colder months, so maybe I will get some read. But yeah, I just had them on my TBR for a while. I've been putting them off and I need a little bit of convincing, so let's just go through them. Okay, the first book we have got is Light Lark by Alex Astor. So this book I picked up because I'm pretty sure it's got like trials kind of in the book, which is usually really up my street. I really enjoy it, but this is a trilogy and the third book came out not that long ago and I heard people say it was a bit of a letdown. It wasn't really the best ending to the story, so it's kind of put me off even starting it, which I know it shouldn't, but I don't want to invest 3 books worth of time into reading these if the third book's a bit shit, you know. So yeah, I will read it at some point because I need to form my own opinions, but it definitely made it go down my priority list quite a bit. It dropped considerably because of other people's opinions, basically. But yeah, the premise of it sounds really up my street, but I'm just hoping that some people just didn't like the third book, but I'm going to enjoy it, hopefully. If you've read this series, let me know what you thought. But yeah, I'll definitely read it at some point. I just haven't picked it up yet. But also, what a good book. What a good structure to a book, which makes me want to put it back higher up my TBR. But like I said, I will read it at some point. I just heard people were a bit disappointed by the third one. So yeah, that's Light Light by Alex Astor. Next up, very different reason why I don't want to read this book, or why I've been putting it off, is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is such a popular series. It's a quartet. I've got the first 2 books. I bought them off Vinted genuinely over a year ago, and I haven't even picked up the first one yet. These books are very well loved. I have really high expectations going into it because people enjoy it so much that I'm worried about reading it and it not being as good as the hype, you know. I enjoy the fact that in my brain it's a really good series and if I start it, it might not actually be my thing. So yeah, that's kind of why I've been putting this book off. I'm just worried that it's not going to live up to the high expectations I have for it. So if you have read this and you do think it lives up to all the hype, let me know because I'll bump it back up. But yeah, like I say, I've got the first 2. Once I read the first 2, then I'll probably buy the next 2 rather than having all 4 on my TBR. But yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy it. When I read the blurb and things like that, I think I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm just a little bit worried that I won't. So yeah, that's An Ember in the Ashes. Next up, again, a completely different reason why I haven't read this book yet, but I think a lot of people are in the same boat as me, and it is A Little Life. I have not read this because I'm worried that it's going to emotionally wreck me. It really is. I've only ever heard people say, not even necessarily in a bad way, but I've heard so many people say how much this book messed them up. Like how triggering some moments are in it, how people shouldn't even be recommending it because it's quite a difficult book to read, and I'm scared it's gonna like actually wreck me. I did see recently in, I think it's called Dylan Joseph on YouTube, I did see he recently said in one of his videos he's read it like 4 or 5 times, like reread it, because he enjoys it so much, and that kind of made it go a little bit higher up. That kind of made me want to read it again, because I think obviously the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th time you're reading it, you know what's happening, so it's probably not as like emotionally draining as the first time. But I think if you're rereading it that many times, how bad can it be, you know? Unless maybe it's just a little bit masochistic. Is that when you sort of it's for you? I think that's the word, sadistic or masochistic, whichever one. Maybe he's just a little bit like that and he likes being emotionally wrecked. I don't know. But yeah, it has made me want to read it again, purely off his one time saying he's read it so many times. So yeah, maybe I'll get it read. I keep saying I think I'll read it when it's like a little bit colder, a little bit darker, and I can get cozy. And if I'm like emotionally wrecked, it's fine because I don't need to go out anywhere. But also maybe I should be reading it when it's sunny and light out so that I don't end up going into like a hole whilst I'm reading it and rotting away. I don't know, but I need to get it read at some point. So, well, I don't need to. I could not read it, but I want to read it. So I want to know what everyone's experiencing. So yeah, A Little Life is definitely, it's going to get read. I just have really been putting it off every time I see it. Next up, we have Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the first one in the Last Hours trilogy, I think it is. First of all, the size of it is what puts me off, but also I've read the Shadowhunters Mortal Instruments series. I think there's 6 books in that. I've read all those 6, but I recently saw that I should have read the first 3 and then read another series in the middle. I want to say Infernal Devices maybe, or Clockwork something. I can't remember. It was another 3 books and then read the last 3 out of the 6, but I've already read all 6, so I can't actually do that. But they're the only, no, they're not the only Cassandra Clare books, because I've also read the Ragpicker King, Chronicles of Castellane, those 2 that are out. Yeah, the only 2 that are out in that series. I've read both of those. But yeah, in the specific Shadowhunter like world, I've only read the City of Bones, those 6. I'm pretty sure it's the Mortal Instruments. I've only read those 6, but I think you're meant to have read other books in the series before you start this series, so that just puts me off. I think there's another like 9 books or something like that that I need to read before I start this one. I don't necessarily think it's going to ruin stuff, but it might just make stuff make sense more maybe in this. I'm not really sure. So yeah, there's six books in the Mortal Instruments, then there's 3 books in the Infernal Devices, 3 books in the Dark Artifices, let's go for that. And then there's also the Eldest Curses, which is 1 book I think. Then there's the Shadowhunters Codex, then the Bane Chronicles, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, Ghost of the Shadow Market. There's just so many books in this world, and I think these are the last ones, I want to say. I might be wrong, don't quote me on that, but I think they might be the last ones. So that's what's putting me off, that I've got to read so many books. I will definitely read them at some point, but I don't own the others. I'll probably get them out of the library as I'm reading them and then buy them once I've read them, you know. If I enjoy it, I'll probably do that more so. But yeah, that's what's putting me off, and also the sheer size of it, but more so the fact that I've got to read so many books before I get to this series. So that's Chain of Gold. Next up we have I Fell in Love with Hope by Lan Carley. This is the indie copy. This book I think is going to ruin me. I think it's a little bit like A Little Life, the same reasonings of why I've not read this book. I saw the author advertising this years and years and years and years ago. I'm pretty sure it's got a theme of suicide in there, which I need to be in the right headspace before I read something like that. I do think it might be a little bit triggering for me to read, which I don't often get triggered by books, really. I'm very fortunate to not really get triggered by books, or if I'm like, oh, that makes me feel a certain type of way, I'll just put it down. I just won't carry on reading it. But yeah, I just think this book is it's gonna be very draining, very emotionally challenging, I think, to get through. But sometimes it's good to read books like that, you know, to challenge yourself and to feel those emotions. But I just need to make sure I'm in the right headspace before I start it, and I have not been in that headspace for a while now. So hopefully I will be at some point. I'll definitely read it, or at least try it, but I just don't know when that will be. So I'm definitely putting it off until I feel 100% ready, or at least a good 90% ready to go into it, you know. So yeah, that's I Fell in Love with Hope. And then we have a fantasy book, which I'm not even sure I need to say anything. I think I can just hold the book and people will be like, yeah, that makes sense why you've not picked that up yet. The sheer size of this is absolutely why I've not picked it up yet. Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I really want to get into Samantha Shannon's writing. I really do. I have so many other books on my TBR. Honestly, I think I've got 6 books. Priory of the Orange Tree, then I've got Day of the Fallen Night, or whatever the prequel's called. Then I've got the first 4 books, maybe. They're all here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 4 books. The first 4 books in the Bone Season series. It's a lot. They're all kind of chunky books, but these ones, this one and the prequel, come on, the prequel's actually got more pages I think than this has. It's like that, you know, that TikTok sound that's like, is it ever that serious? Is this book, is there any need for it to be that many pages? I don't know. I do have this book on my Kindle. I think if I'd have started reading it on my Kindle before I saw the actual physical book, I probably would have read it by now, because the amount of times that I've read book on my Kindle and then I see it in real life, I'm like, oh my god, didn't realise how big that book was. I probably would have read it, but because I've already seen this fucking doorstop, it just puts me off. It puts me off. But I will read it at some point. I absolutely will. I'll definitely be reading it on my Kindle, because it's just not even comfortable to hold this to read, you know. I'll definitely read it on my Kindle, but yeah, it's gonna be a when I'm in the mood to start it, when I can't find anything else on my Kindle type situation, I think. But yeah, Priory of the Orange Tree, if you have read this, please let me know if it is worth it. Is it actually this serious? Am I wasting my time reading it? How many pages actually is it? 800, over 800 pages. Is it that deep? Someone let me know. Do I need to read it? I will read it at some point, but does it need to go higher up on my priority list? Let me know. So yeah, Priory of the Orange Tree. And then the last physical book I've got that I've just been putting off for so long. I might have had this book for over 2 years. In fact, I'm pretty sure over 2 years. It might even be being nice. It's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I have read quite a few Leigh Bardugo books now. I've read the Shadow and Bone series. I've read the Six of Crows duology. I've got 2 books which are on this pile somewhere. The King of Scars, that duology. So I'm enjoying our books, you know. They've all been kind of 3 stars or above. But I don't know what it is about this book. I just find it really intimidating. I don't know if it's the front cover, if it's because it's sold as dark academia. I don't know, but I just find it super intimidating. I think there's 2. I want to say it's a duology. I might have made that up, but I think it is. And I just don't know. It kind of gives me the same energy of, what was that book? Atlas 6. I know the different authors, but it gives me that same energy. And I started Atlas 6 and DNF'd it because it was just going right over my head. I didn't understand what was going on. It was just complicated, I felt. I just wasn't enjoying it. I couldn't get into the story at all. And I feel like this is going to be the same, and that's what puts me off, I think. It might not be. Like, it says on the front, Impossible to Put Down by Stephen King, which is like, whoa, imagine if you wrote a book that Stephen King said it was impossible to put down. But I also think Stephen King's books are intimidating. Like, I've only read 1 and I enjoyed it, Carrie. I enjoyed it, but I think his books are a little bit intimidating to start. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what this book's about. I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea. I just think it's the front cover and the sort of assumptions that I made in my own head to what this book is. It makes me not want to read it, which is so silly, I know. But yeah, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I'm just intimidated. I'll hold my hands up, I'm intimidated. And then last but not least is a series that I don't own, but it is on Kindle Unlimited, and it is the Addicted to You series. I can't remember what the authors are called now. Are these Krista and Becca Ritchie, I think, are the authors of this series, because I've got it right here. I've read the first 2 books in this series, Dishonestly Yours. Really enjoyed it. They're very character driven books, but those ones specifically, that series, I enjoyed. They do also have a good plot line in there. But the Addicted to You series, the only reason I've not started it is because I think it's going to take over my life. Honestly, I think I'm going to be obsessed with it, which I know I shouldn't have those high hopes, but I really think I am, because I love a character driven series. I really do. And I just think I'm, you know, pardon the pun, but I think I'm going to be addicted to it. I think it's going to be a little bit like when I read the Magnolia Parks series, and it was all I did until I finished it. It's all I wanted to do. I was so obsessed with those books the first time I read them that I didn't want to do anything else. I was annoyed when I had to go to work. I just wanted to read. That's all I wanted to do. I was staying up late reading them. I was getting up in the morning wanting to read them. They just really took over my life when I was reading that series for the first time. And I just think this Addicted to You series is going to do a similar thing. And I've not had a sort of break long enough that I can fully commit to this series, because I want to be able to fully get invested and have the time to get invested, and I don't feel like I've had that yet. It might be maybe over Christmas, New Year. I have got some time off, which usually I never ever do, but we're actually going away, like a staycation type thing, in between Christmas and New Year this year. So it might be then maybe I'll have some proper downtime and just be able to read. But then also I'm meant to be having family time, so I can't just sit and read all day. So I don't really know, but I just need an extended period of time where I can just let it take over my life and be as obsessed as I want to be. It might even be I read the first book and I think this isn't for me and I don't want to carry it on, but I just can't foresee that happening. So yeah, the only reason I've not started that is because I think I'm going to enjoy it too much. That's why I've not started that series yet. So yeah, that's the Addicted to You series. Also, I'm pretty sure there's like 10 books. So Magnolia Parks, when I first read it, there was only 4 books out. So it like wasn't too bad. I'm pretty sure there's 10. I'm pretty sure there's 10. And they're like connected series, but with the same characters, I think. Yeah, there's 10. Might even be more than 10. So I just think, I just don't have the time to be as obsessed as I want to be. So yeah, that's the reason why I've not read that. And yeah, that is the end of my list of books I have been putting off. I'm sure there's more on my TBR that have probably been there for a few years, but these are the main ones that I keep wanting to read, but I'm just putting it off for one reason or another. So yeah, that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did and you'd like to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. But other than that, I will see you in a bit.